2025, which we will also recommend for full board approval, and it will be presented to you now by Finance Manager Yates.
Thank you, Director Dias. This is the Treasurer's Report for August, and the average yield to maturity for the total portfolio for August was 4.319%, which was down 0.032% from July. The average days to maturity, 203 days, or approximately 7 months. And total cash and investments at August 31st was just over $165 million, which was up $4 million from July 31st. And that was due to about $1.6 million received in property tax revenue. And we did receive 2 payments from LA County during August. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
The 2 payments were from where?
From LA County.
Thank you. Do we have any payments or any questions of Teresa? Teresa, next time you gotta make some obvious mistakes.
No, you don't.
Okay, if there's no further, comments or any questions, motion will be in order.
I'll move on Board Order 8A2.
The motion by Dr. Van Dam.
I'll second that motion. That's Rob.
The second by Dr. Paris. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried. Yeah, thank you, Teresa.
And the next 3 items that we discussed are purchase orders in amounts greater than $25,000. And our operations manager, John Bozigan, will present these to the full board.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Okay, so our first item, ignore the picture, we're not there yet. The first item is at each of our treatment plants, each of our facilities, we have what are called SCBA units, self-contained breathing apparatus. And they're used for confined space entry and rescue. A lot of our turnouts are confined spaces. Of the 15 or so units that we have, 8 of them are out of date and we cannot get them filled anymore. You have to get them certified every so often. So they're not able to be certified and filled. So we have to replace these units, obviously. We get a lot of material, or a lot of these safety components from C Corp Industries, and we got a price from them. Thought it was a little bit high. So we checked with Granger Industrial, very well-known industrial firm. They sell the same unit for about $500 less. So we are proposing replacing these 8 units with units from Granger Industrial, and the total cost would be $28,694.42, and that'll bring us all up to date with our safety equipment in all our facilities.
Is there any questions or comments?
Yeah, good job, John, on going out and getting that second bid.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Yeah, I just appreciate how diligent you are to find the best deal. Appreciate it.
I have a good team. Believe me, it's not all me. I'm surrounded by a lot of good people. Thank you, though.
Okay, a motion would be in order for 8A3.
Mr. President, I'll move on 8A3.
Dr. Miller, we have a motion.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Yeah.
Okay. We'll go to the next one. Okay, Holly, you can advance. There you go. Okay, so we'll do this. Justin showed me how to work this. Oh, there we go. Now that was
That was me.
okay, Holly.
Oh, wait, you did.
Okay, so to the left, this is a Fairmont turnout. This is the beginning of the west feeder. It is a 48-inch turnout, and you can see on the left picture that trash rack, that grate, that was installed originally when they built the turnout way back when. And what happens is during high wind times, which we get along the Antelope Valley, grass, moss, algae collects in that cavity. to the right, you can see there's a cavity and it gets progressively deeper as you go down. What we have to do to clean that is we have to shut the west feeder off, which means that we're not banking. And we have to manually get rakes and go down there and scrape that stuff off, which is, you know, a lot of work. It's 3 or 4 days to get it clean. So we propose putting a moss screen on the aqueduct. We do have 2 moss screens a little bit downstream. We're gonna put a moss screen on the aqueduct to help prevent that buildup. And the board had allocated as one of our projects, $225,000 to do that. Well, we got to looking at it and we had International Water Screens, who really builds all of our screens now, come out. They're located in Bakersfield, and they said, you know, a better idea, instead of spending that money on a moss screen, a lot of maintenance, a lot of moving parts, let's rebuild that grate. Let's take that thing out of there. Let's build a new one out of stainless steel that's flush with the concrete. They believe that the scouring effect of the water running by will keep it cleaner, it won't have an area to collect, and it'll be a lot less maintenance. So we thought that was a great idea, plus, you know, we're gonna save some money by doing it that way. So they proposed $81,970 to build the screen out of stainless steel and to remove that screen and to install the new screen. We thought that was a pretty good price. It's gonna save a lot of headaches. Also, while they were out there, Holly, if you go to the next screen, there you go. On the left, way in the background, you can see there's 2 moss screens, quite a ways away from the grate. Those moss screens, if you look to the right now, Holly, if you point to the right, see that hood that's got the opening in the back, it's all dented up. Okay, those years of wind, years of heavy things going through the grate, bending that hood up. Now when the sprayers spray that screen, you have moss and algae and things that are just really going everywhere. So it's just not a good condition. So we thought, well, while we're doing this, why don't we have them build new hoods and new covers for these moss screens? And so they proposed building new covers with access panels out of stainless steel for $35,582 to build and install. So the total price to International Water Screens to do this work would be $117,552.20, which is you know, quite a savings over the $225,000 that the board had already allocated. So we think this is probably a good way to go. We did contact Farm Pump and Irrigation because they do screens also. They faded out of the screen business, then they tried to get back into it, and they were non-responsive. There's very few traveling screen makers left in California. So this is somewhat of a sole source. So we recommend going with IWS International Water Screens for that amount. Be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, how old are those existing screens?
The existing screens are probably about, I would say they're probably about 15 years old. And we have them serviced every year, pulled and the wear parts replaced. The screens are actually working good. It's just the above part that has just been beat up over the years.
John, is it, can we expect it to be replaced every 15, 20 years or?
I think, no. I think the grate is gonna be a one and done, the major expense. I think the hoods, realistically, I think IWS is gonna build a better hood with access panels, so we can actually get to it. So I don't see us replacing that. I think once we get it, I think it'll be okay.
Okay, is there any further questions from John? So we have 2 items, a moss screen and a stainless steel screen there. There's no further questions or comments. The motion will be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll make it.
Okay. Yes.
Second.
Second from Director Van Dam. Nothing further, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Pears,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Gaius,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried.
Okay, so our last purchase order, if we go to the next screen, okay. So Quartz Hill, this Quartz Hill plant, you know, we transitioned from chlorine gas for disinfection to sodium hypochlorite back in the early 2000s, I think it was 01. So the original two hypochlorite tanks, they're indoor, they're 8,000 gallons each, are tanks 1 and 2. Then when we did the expansion, the disinfection byproduct expansion in 2010, we added 2 more tanks. We have 4 tanks, 8,000 gallons each. This tank number 1 is the original tank. It developed a crack, and so we had to drain it, dry it out, and we have to get it repaired. This tank was repaired in 2017 by American Fiberglass. They're an East Coast company. They were the only company we could find that would come and do this. They did several tanks for us, but the last couple tanks they did haven't weathered as well as we hoped. You should be able to get 12 to 15 years out of a rehab of a hypochlorite tank. So about 3 or 4 years ago, we contacted D&T Fiberglass in Northern California. They came out, they looked at what we had, and they said, yeah, we can do this work. They've done about 3 or 4 tanks for us. Their methods are modern, their techniques, everything. They do a great job. So we just reached out to them to do this tank. Now the question is going to be asked, and the finance committee did ask this. Well, you know, why don't we just replace this tank? Why even fix it? So I'll let you go to the next slide. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Okay, so you see way in the distance, tanks 3 and 4. Okay, there's no way to get tanks in and out of that room, as you can see. You would have to cut tank 1 apart, remove it in pieces. You have to bring a new tank in pieces, laminated in place. And the seismic requirements currently are more stringent than they were in 2001. So you would have to change the anchoring of that tank. So we feel it's more prudent to just repair this tank. If you have to repair it every 10, 12, even 15 years, you're still money ahead. I'm sure it'd be well over $100,000 to replace this tank. It would take quite a while. So we recommend going with D&T Fiberglass to do a full rehab of this tank, new bottom, laminate the sides, new fittings, and the total price would be $47,400. And they can get it on the schedule probably in October or November at the latest. You have to answer your questions.
I have a question. John, what about the seismic considerations? Is there a big difference?
Not a huge difference. You'd have to add more anchors, but, and Rob raised some good points on this. I guess my response would be, if you're gonna do it to this tank, and that's gonna add cost, why wouldn't you do it to all the tanks? And my feeling is the seismic requirements in 2001, are earthquakes bigger these days? I think it's like anything with engineering, no offense. I think engineers look for ways to generate work, and increasing, you know, more stringent seismic requirements. Some are necessary. You know, we saw that from the Northridge quake. That's when a lot of things changed in '94, whenever that was. A lot of things changed. They became very strict. And so I think the 01 seismic requirements for tank anchoring are probably sufficient to what we have now. I don't think we should spend a lot of extra money to do that. That's my opinion.
Okay, any further comments or questions?
I had a question. So who's D&T? That's a new tank service?
D&T Fiberglass is out of Northern California. This is all they do, is they rehab chemical tanks, fiberglass storage tanks.
Have they done anything for us before?
They've done the last 3 or 4 tanks for us, all with excellent results.
So we're not gonna use that company that, cause this was done in 2017.
Yeah, that's American Fiberglass. So we're not gonna use them anymore.
We're done with them?
We're done with them. They were from Massachusetts, and they were entertaining, to say the least. Very colorful language people, our crew. But no, they kind of sloped off towards the end, so we're not gonna use them anymore.
So since our last finance meeting, I read an article about the San Andreas fault.
Okay,
You know how close that is to us?
goes right through us.
We're on.
Yeah, and it's getting scarier and scarier.
It is. I would say this, Rob. In my opinion, if we have an earthquake big enough to dislodge one of those tanks,
We have a lot of other worries now.
we're gonna have pipes pulling out of the ground. It's a valid point you raise. It's just going to the extra cost, risk versus reward. I just don't know that it's there. And it'd be terribly expensive to all our facilities to upgrade tank anchoring. And we certainly do it, but I recommend for right now, just fixing this tank and getting it back in service.
Okay, is there, if no further questions or comments, a motion would be in order?
I move approval of Board Order 8A5.
Motion by Director Paris.
Thank you.
I'll second, Mr. Chair.
Second, Jane. Madam Secretary, we have a roll call.
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris.
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Yeah, thank you very much, John.
Thank you, John.
Good job.
That concludes the Finance Committee report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Director Dias. It'll bring us on to item number B, and this is coming back to an item that we discussed some time ago about getting comments and procedures if the board chooses to go forward with a vote from the public, an advisory vote regarding the Delta Conveyance Project. And you might just take a moment and read it. It's laid out, it's done very well, and take a moment to read it, and we'll discuss it if anybody hasn't read it yet. It's not committing the board in any way at this point, but it's an advisory would need to be done in order to put it on the ballot. And so I think we'll open it up if there's any questions or comments.
So, Mr. President, this is just a proposal that we have our attorney prepare a memo that educates us as to how we would do this.
Exactly, there's no commitment.
No commitment? Okay. I move approval of Board Order 8B1.
Second, this is Pete.
Okay.
He wants his.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Okay,
I yield to Keith for the second.
okay. If there's no further questions or comments, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Okay, thank you, very well. And we'll move on to Water Projects Committee, and Director Miller is chairman of that committee. We'll turn it over to Director Miller.
Yes, so the Water Projects Committee met a couple different times on these subjects about reconditioning the Acton Water Treatment Plant and the other item as well. So I'm going to turn this over. Is John going to talk about it? Okay, thank you, John.
Okay. Holly, if we want to go to okay. So, Rob, I know you like when I use the story format.
Story. Good.
Gather around.
Okay.
So,
Once upon a time.
once upon a time, there was this little Acton treatment plant that could. And so Acton treatment plant provides water. It was built as part of the Dawn project in 1990. So this plant treated water, and we pumped the water to District 37, which is Acton. You've gone down the 80 freeway, you see that by the Vincent Hill restaurant across the freeway, that tank, that is the Vincent tank. And from there, the county pumps water to, just different parts of Acton. In 20, I have a timeline here, but we're talking about rehabilitating the plant. Why don't we use the plant anymore? Well, in 2011, we signed an agreement with Palmdale Water District. We said, look, it's prudent for us to have THM mitigation, which we really didn't have at the Acton plant. And Palmdale Water District has GAC contactors, so they can mitigate THM problems. Why don't we see if we can form a partnership of sorts and have Palmdale Water District supply water to our pump station on Sierra Highway, and we will in turn pump it to the Vincent plant, or Vincent tank. So we worked that out. It has been a fantastic partnership. We in no way want to stop that. That's beneficial to both agencies. So I just want to make that very clear. Rehabilitating the Acton plant is a backup only. All right, District 37 is AVEK's customer, not Palmdale's customer. So our responsibility as staff is to look at risks, look at vulnerability that we have, and then we bring it to the board and we say, this is the risk, this is where we're vulnerable, this is what we recommend. You know, we're never gonna bring something to you and say, what do you think? It's like, no, this is what we recommend, but the decision is yours. So the reason we want to rehabilitate it is so that's ready for operation if PWD has an outage. Ensure water deliveries. We are going to restore the plant to 50% capacity. Okay, that would be 2 million gallons a day. In an emergency, we think that's sufficient. The plant itself would be 100% rehabilitated. The only thing that would be 50% would be the filters. There's 4 filters. The 2 of the filters, the main expense of this is going to be rehabilitating filters, putting new media in the filters. That's $250,000 estimated. So we figure let's just do 2 filters. That would get us by in an emergency, but the rest of the plan would be 100%. We'll keep it ready to run. We figured we would run it every quarter for a week just to keep it ready to run. We would not staff it. We would have the Eastside Treatment Plant operators run the plant every quarter. They are already in charge of the pump station and making sure that you know things are okay there. We estimate about $500,000 to do this. Maintenance and operation in-house staff would do all the work other than the filters. Next slide, Holly. There you go. So timeline, 1990 built. 1993, the county said, hey, we don't need the plant. Take it offline. We have plenty of well capacity. So we took it offline. 1998, development out at Acton. They said, hey, let's bring this plant back online. So we did that. Then in 2008, we did the DVP upgrade. And in 2010, it was complete. 2011, we did the agreement with Palmdale Water District, which has worked very well for us. So here we are in 2025. The question I would ask, are we you, is why now?
Why now?
Hey, there you go. So you think alike. So why now? Well, have you guys noticed that we've had a lot of leaks lately? We're coming to you with leaks. We've got to repair this, we've got to repair that. Because systems are getting older. And Palmdale systems are getting older, just like AVEK system. Thus far, they've been very dependable. But perfect storms, as we know, happen all the time in our personal lives, in our professional lives, and it happens. So we're vulnerable. If Palmdale can't supply water, District 37 isn't going to look to Palmdale and say, hey, we have an agreement. They're going to look to AVEK. So we looked at options. If we can't get water from Palmdale, what would we do? And the only viable option is to get the plant back in shape to run. I can't think of any other options. We beat this thing to death. There's just really no other way. So that's why we're bringing it to you. We've identified a vulnerability, a risk, and we think risk versus reward, $500,000 is a lot of money, but the risk is greater if we can't provide water, especially if it's in the middle of summer. Next slide, Holly. This is just a kind of a diagram. Yeah, you know, I wish this was working. Justin had it working for me and I screwed it up. He had it working perfectly, and if I touched it, it got screwed up. This just shows the current configuration. We take water from the raw water turnout that takes water to the Acton plant. We put a new line in, and that water, it says raw water to Lake Palmdale. It goes through that line, it goes into Lake Palmdale. So for every acre foot that we buy of treated water, we put 1 acre foot plus 10% into the lake. There's always a leave behind. Palmdale has a blue line that runs from the Palmdale treatment plant. It runs south. And then right there, that's where we put a new line in to connect to their existing line to bring water to a turnout down to our pump station, and then we pump it to the Vincent tank. That line, even though AVEK paid for it and built it, part of the agreement was we turn that over to Palmdale, they own it, and they maintain it, and like I said, it's been gold. Palmdale has been great in this agreement. That's just kind of a layout of how the system works now. So we'll go to the next slide, Holly. You know, really this is really a detailed estimate that you can look through at your leisure. It just shows really all the things that we feel need to be done to get the plan in shape. The bottom line is at $500,000 right at the bottom. That's gonna be the total cost estimated. But in the middle, you see we built 2 filters with TDC and sand, that's media, $250,000. That's estimated, that would be Calgon or a company like that does filter media remediation. So half of the price is gonna be the 2 filters that we're gonna do. But I don't wanna go into too much detail about the other stuff. But you know, when you leave a plant sit idle, pumps need to be rebuilt, a lot of things need to be replaced, and that's been sitting idle for many years. Last slide, Holly. Okay, so as we talked about, estimated cost would be $500,000. So we recommend, the Water Projects Committee looked at this and they were in agreement. And we recommend rehabilitating it to ensure it's ready for operation only in the event of a Palmdale outage. I can't stress enough, this agreement with Palmdale is beneficial to both of us and we will keep that going hopefully forever. So, and we'll keep the plant in ready to run condition with the Eastside Treatment Plant staff. And I mean, that's all I've got. Be happy to answer any questions. Well,
From time to time, will we pump water actually to where does it go, to the Vincent Hill?
so right now, every day we pump water. We take Palmdale's water, run it into our clear well,
Okay,
out of our clear well, and pump it to Vincent. What we'll do, let's say every quarter for a week, we'll run water from the treatment plant into the clear well and pump it up to the Vincent tank, just to keep the plant ready to run.
and we won't have any problem with Palmdale if we do that?
No, we'll just, you know, shut the turnout off. In fact, we can even blend water. We could take less water from Palmdale for that week, blend it with our surface treated water, and pump it up to the Vincent tank. So it will not affect Palmdale. It will not affect them in any way.
And if we do this, will the people in Acton live happily ever after?
No. The perfect world, yes, they will.
Okay.
Let me just speak to, the committee they were in full agreement with this, and I think it seems redundant, but we need to be ready. In lots of the conferences we've been attending, everybody's waiting for the big one. Now, it's possible if it was really horrible, Palmdale and our Acton treatment plant could be damaged, but at least we have an opportunity without having to, how long do you think this is gonna take to rehab?
I think
Several months?
we're going to anticipate it being done sometime in summer of 2026, if we can get started right away. Use the good word, redundancy. And when you take our plant tours, what do you see? Multiple chemical pumps, multiple lift pumps. We have redundancy everywhere because we can only control what's in our control. If we had the big one and Palmdale was out and AVEK was out, we can say, we did everything that was under our control. But if we don't have everything under our control, then, you know, we have to be accountable for that.
Yeah.
So,
And then Palmdale's right on the fault. We're a
Yeah.
little bit further away, but
Right.
you never know. And we may never have another earthquake.
let's hope.
That's not reasonable, but, yeah, I am definitely for this.
Okay, is there any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I had a question. Palmdale got a cost share with us on this, being that they're benefiting from it.
I don't know why Palmdale would benefit from it. Palmdale's not benefiting from it. Palmdale's selling water to AVEK. So, I don't know.
No, yeah, John's right. There'd be no benefit from a water supply or reliability to Palmdale. So we would not be asking for any.
I keep hearing Palmdale, it's gonna say Palmdale too, and this and that, so.
Yeah.
I just figure we get them on board and go ahead and help us out with it.
Yeah, you know, actually, that's a good point. I did ask the question in the committee,
Mm-hmm.
if we can send water back down on Bill if necessary and meet up with like our feeder on in. And that is not in place. So it's mainly to make sure Acton has water.
Yeah, we do have an intertie, Gary, with Palmdale, and it may be something you're thinking about on Avenue P and Division Street.
Right.
We have an intertie with Palmdale where if they needed water, we could send treated water straight into Palmdale's distribution system, which would be very helpful. But this, bringing the plant online, would not be really any benefit from Palmdale, other than it's just a reliability for the District 37.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, some comments, and which Dr. Dias knows, as much as I do or more about it than I do, but originally this plant was part of the Dawn project. There's 4 plants that are going to be built for a $71 million bond issue. The Acton plant was not built, and we had a pretty stern letter from the County of Los Angeles. Matt, have you ever seen that letter?
I have seen that letter, yeah.
But they pretty much threatened legal action if we did not build it.
Yeah.
And we built it, and they used it for some time, and they quit using it. And as far as being, mothballed, I thought after they quit using it, did we ever keep it in semi-operational?
We did, and what happened was in 2013, we had a huge 8-inch pipe burst in the plant, and it filled a lot of the plant. So a lot of the electrical, a lot of the pumps were submerged. So at the time, we were thinking, okay, this is gonna be a lot. There's gonna be a lot to fix this up. A decision was made that, look, we have this agreement with Palmdale. We don't need to spend that money right now. This thing with Palmdale is gonna work great. So your point's well taken, George. Why wasn't it kept in running shape? There was something out of our control that happened, and we just never followed up on spending the money.
Rehabilitating this, I think it's a good idea. But I would say, you mentioned a few times that we're very happy with Palmdale. We are now, but again, it's a financial issue, so it needs to be looked at occasionally, financially wise.
Sure.
Which is the most economical for the agency. Then, did you mention they leave behind 10% of the water? Did I hear that?
Yeah, part of the contract with Palmdale is that if we take 100 acre feet of water from them, we have to put 110 acre feet in the lake. You have to replace, they're selling us treated water, so every acre foot we have to replace, but there's a 10% leave behind, you have evaporation in the lake, and that was part of the contract.
Yeah. Okay, well, is there any other questions or comments? Mr. Parrish?
Yeah, on our water rate for Acton, do we have capital improvements built into that water rate? And would this be part of that water rate?
Yeah, it's a good question, Director Ferris. So as you know, every few years, we do a long-term financial plan that looks out in the future. And probably 5-6 years ago, Acton used to pay the same rate as everybody else here from Quartz Hill and Northern System. But because of this arrangement with Palmdale, we decided to determine or calculate a separate water rate for the Acton service area. So Acton service area pays a slightly higher rate, or the county pays a higher rate to AVEK for that water. It's currently $870 per acre foot as compared to $814 for everyone else. And what our plan is, when we go through and do our next financial plan update, we will include the capital cost that John presented tonight as part of that calculation. And it kind of goes back to President Lane's comment about we need to always look at the cost of providing water to District 37, make sure that we're using the most economical process or option.
Good. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, any further questions? Okay, motion would be in order.
Mr. President, I'll move on 8C1 for approval.
You have a motion by Director Miller. Do we have a second?
And Mr. President, I'll second that motion.
We have a second by Director Ferris. Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John. Good job.
Okay, and for 8C2, on phase 2 of the SNP plan, that's
Yeah, I know the agenda says myself and Justin Livesay. When I put the agenda together, I thought we could tag team it, but as we were doing a dry run of the presentation, I decided, let's just have Justin do it. So he's got the whole thing.
awesome.
All right.
Go,
Thanks,
yes.
Matt. Good evening, President Lane, members of the board. No action on this. This is just a status update on the SNP Phase 2 project. We did discuss this with the committee a few weeks ago and thought we should brief the entire board as well. There we go. Oh, sorry. All right, starting with background. This map illustrates the SNP facilities that are already currently constructed. So back in 2010, we began banking at the West Side Water Bank, and from about 2010 to 2014-ish timeframe, we constructed quite a bit to make up the SNP Phase 1 system. On the map here, yeah, John was, oh, hold on, I had something going. No good on the mouse. There we go. Oh, sorry, Holly, let's back up. All right, well, I'll walk you through it. So there's a green line kind of going diagonally to the bottom left of the screen. That's California Aqueduct. You can see the west feeder labeled, this purple line going towards the north. And that runs through the blue squares there. That's our West Side Water Bank. So we currently have that property out there that we're banking in with the recovery wells. They're out there about 26 million gallons per day capacity currently. So we installed the SNP connector pipeline, a 48-inch diameter pipeline rated for 45 million gallons per day. That's the yellow line there. We also installed the red line there, so that's the SNP Phase 1 pipeline. So it goes north to our Rosewood Water Treatment Plant. And it goes south as far as 80th Street West and Avenue H to kind of the Bench Ranch area there. That's also a 48-inch diameter pipeline rated for 45 million gallons per day. You can see on the map there, there's a gap between the box labeled SNP South Pump Station and Quartzville Water Treatment Plant. That's the gap we intend to fill with the SNP Phase 2 project. Also constructed in the north at the Rosewood Water Treatment Plant, we installed what we call our SNP North Pump Station that pumps water recovered from the West Side Water Bank into the central feeder and up to the Mojave Tank Farms to serve all of our customers in Kern County. We also installed a low head pump station, completed the building, I've got some photos, and a turnout to LA County Waterworks at 80th Street West and Avenue H. So those facilities were all previously constructed. And if we click forward, next slide, there we go. Here's a photo of the SNP North Pump Station. This is at the Rosewood Water Treatment Plant. You can see the building in the photo on the left. We've got the pumps that you can see inside the building on the right. And those are pumping, as I said, into the west or central feeder up to the Mojave Tank Farms. Next slide. This is at 80th and H. So you can see that building on the left. That's a pretty large building, about 800 square feet, I think, give or take. And the pumps that you see in the foreground here are the 3 low head pumps. So those are designed to pump water into LA County Waterworks system at 80th Street West and Avenue H. In the background, it's difficult to see, but behind those pumps are pump cans that were installed with the construction of this building. All the provisions for SNP Phase 2 were installed as part of the construction of all the facilities there at 80th and H. So in the background, we've got 5 pump cans there to accept future pumps that would be used to pump up the hill to the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant along with SNP Phase 2. Next slide. One more photo. This is the LA County Waterworks turnout at 80th Street West and Avenue H. So there's building inside of the building. We've got the flow control and metering pipelines that deliver the water into the LA County Waterworks system. So again, all already constructed. This is the same map that we started off with, but now in the kind of yellow shaded boxes describe some of the facilities that would be constructed as part of SNP Phase 2. So we've got about 6.5 miles of 48-inch pipeline, which matches the capacities of the existing SNP Phase 1 system. The pump station improvements that are needed, as I mentioned, the building is already there. All the underground piping to connect into SNP Phase 2 pipeline is already there. But we would equip 3 pumps out there. I mentioned there's space for 5 at this point in time. We're planning to equip 3 of those, 9 million gallons per day each, for a capacity of 27 MGD. But we do have the future capacity to get all the way up to the 45 MGD if needed. That currently matches the capacity of the West Side Water Bank recovery well field, and then we can deliver water through 80th and H as well. So we've got that. There's also 2 new surge tanks that are going to be needed at that site, and then we've got, as I mentioned, the pipeline. So those are the new facilities associated with SNP Phase 2. Just quickly, what are we doing here?
That was fast.
Yeah, any questions? There we go. All right. Just reminding everybody of what the benefits we see for SNP Phase 2, why we approved the design and started on the project. Of course, the biggest one being access to our bank water supplies for the entire distribution system that's served by the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant, or historically has been served by the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant. So we are able to recover banked water currently and send that north to our Kern County customers. We can recover banked water and deliver that to some portions of LA County Waterworks system. The maximum that we've been able to deliver to them is about 14,000 acre feet. We did that, I think, in 2021 when we had the second of the 5% years. But due to some limitations of moving water within their systems, different pressure zones, that's the maximum that we can deliver to there. And they cannot wheel water that they receive from us at 80th and H to other parts of their system. So there are some LA County Waterworks turnouts that cannot get the banked water. Of course, none of their mutual water companies customers are tied into any facilities that can receive access to banked water. Neither is our Leona Valley system or Quartzville Water District. So having the SNP Phase 2 expands the access to our banked water to the system that serves about 80% of our annual demand any given year. So most of the water that we deliver to our customers is delivered through the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant system. Water quality improvements, we've implemented some THM control measures at most of our other facilities. Not the case here at Quartzville Water Treatment Plant. So by connecting to SNP Phase 2, we'd be able to bring recovered water into this system, and we can blend, which is shown to be a successful strategy at the East Side Water Bank and really mitigated our THM issues that we've had out there. So we do have some water quality improvements to our customers in Leona Valley and on our South Feeder system as well. Having access to that bank water provides us with some resiliency. If there was any local state water project outages, like in 2015, we had a mudslide that cut off access to the aqueduct. We were kind of scrambling a little bit and worked really well with our customers to reduce deliveries during that time frame. But if we had SNP Phase 2, we could deliver water from the West Side Water Bank and keep everybody in water with little issue. If there was anything ever that happened with the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant itself, treatment related, chemical related, mechanical related, whatever, we could supply water to our customers through the SNP Phase 2 system as well. Similarly, it would simplify maintenance. We have a 2-week maintenance outage every year at Quartzville Water Treatment Plant where we supply water to our mutuals and some of our smaller customers, but we cut off deliveries to LA County Waterworks for the most part during that time. So it would help us to maintain our typical deliveries during those maintenance periods as well. We've talked about this in the past, but being able to flow backwards from the Quartzville Water Treatment Plant into our Kern County system is possible with the construction of SNP Phase 2. So if anything ever were to happen, to be able to get water out to our customers in Kern County, we could treat all of that water here at Quartzville and run it backwards down the hill into Kern County. So just another level of redundancy for our customers out there. One other thing that we've talked about, there is a potential to move production right for customers outside of the central subbasins where the pumping is higher and there's been some subsidence. So we could work with our customers to move some well recovery production to out near the West Side Water Bank or that area and tie that into our system and potentially pump water for customers through that system as well.
Justin, can you expand on that a little bit more? And maybe this is where Matt or Peter might jump in, is from the water master perspective, the central subbasin is the most, I would say, overdrafted basin we have. And the SNP line, from what you just said, our main customer being LA County Waterworks, could easily take some of their wells out of that subbasin, and that could solve some of our water master problems too. So just something I think the board needs to be aware of. So I think I covered it, right?
You did cover it, Peter.
Yeah, I mean, just something to add, you know, I think John Eucasted has mentioned this before in public comment, but this goes back to the physical solution in the judgment. And goes right back to trying to, you know, do projects that move production away from the problem areas and produce more water from sub areas that don't have a subsidence or lower water levels. So this would could move water or production from the central sub area to the West Antelope sub area and that's where the West Side Water Bank is located. So.
And probably would be something Waterworks 40 would be interested in doing and potentially assisting with.
Yeah, potentially, and they've expressed interest in contributing capital funds towards the SNP Phase 2 project. So I'm talking to Carolina with Waterworks about that. So they're very interested, and you know, they also have issues with, LA County has issues with water quality in some of their wells that they're gonna have to invest money into treatment. So this could be a good alternative to providing treatment to those wells.
Great.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, good comment. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, the last bullet point here is just, again, kind of more reduced reliance on future imported water deliveries, especially during short-term droughts. Obviously, we're gonna need wet water from the aqueduct to bank in those higher allocation years, but this really helps us get through those long-term kind of short periods of drought. All right, so getting into the status part of the status update. Permitting status, I think you're all well aware that all of the CEQA and property acquisition is all completed. The CEQA is complete. The mitigated negative declaration was adopted in 2014, so that's ready to go. No property was needed to be acquired by the agency. The entire alignment of the pipeline is within LA County, City of Lancaster, or City of Palmdale rights of way. So that's all ready to go. The only thing needed during construction would be an encroachment permit to work within that right of way, but those are pretty simple to get. As far as design goes, we've completed the 30% design, the surge tank analysis is done, and they used all of that to develop the 90% design package. We've provided comments back on that already. We shared that 90% design package with our customers and coordinated with LA County Waterworks and Portsville Water District on citing future turnout locations, so that in the future, you know, they know better than us where their future developments may be. So we've strategically located a few future turnouts for our customers along the alignment of SNP Phase 2, so that in the future, when those come about, we don't have to cut into our new pipeline to put those in. So that makes it very easy. And currently, the engineer is working on moving forward to what they're calling a 95% design deliverable. So we provided comments on 90%. They're incorporating those comments into an updated design package that we'll be able to review. They're intending to deliver that to us before Halloween of this year, or that week prior to that. So coming up here in October, we'll have the next level of design for review. Don't anticipate that we'll probably have many comments on that. We had a good amount on the 90% package, but then they should be able to move forward into developing a package that's prepared to go out to bid by November timeframe or so. Just touching on the final couple things. Cost-wise, the most recent cost opinion, this is probably a little over a year old or so. It came with our 90% deliverable. but the cost was estimated to be $49.1 million. You can see on the pie chart the way that breaks down. The lion's share of that is for the pipeline and installation of that 6.5 mile pipeline, 39.4 million. The pump station improvements, so just the equipping of the 3 pumps and some associated electrical, just under 8 million. And then just a plug number there on a percentage basis of construction. Not sure what that really is going to look like, but about 2 million for the soft costs of construction management, inspection, and engineering services during construction. So that's the way the 49.1 breaks down. We will get an updated cost opinion with our 95% deliverable that's coming in October. We'll see what that looks like. We made some comments that we think would drive the cost down, but like I said, it's been a year, so who knows if our comments were enough to overcome maybe potential inflation or construction costs. And then the final slide is schedule. I touched on this already, but design should be finalized here in November. We bring back for board approval, but with board approval, we would bid the project in December to January timeframe or so, and then we'd be ready for construction. I know when we talked with the committee, we talked about kind of backing out from, the grant funding that we're seeking. So we've still got some work to do that. So we have not adjusted this schedule for where we're at on the grant. We're still talking to folks that we're working with, so to figure out what that timeline is. But this could push, maybe 6 months or so out into the future so that we can award the construction in a time frame where we would be able to utilize the grant funds. That's it as far as the status update, but happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, how much were the grant funds for this project?
So we received about $6 million through DWR, and we're currently seeking.
Irrigate lawns and water lawns as usual, but we're not the primary supplier, at least we hadn't been for decades. I hear a lot of discussion about what if, and it could happen someday, something probably will happen, but if you look at the cost, to be 100% reliable, my God, you're going to price people out. We already have priced a lot of people out. If you drive by and look at people's yards. But anyway, I think, Keith knows very well for decades, we emphasize we're the secondary supplier, not primary. And I haven't heard much talk about that in this board in a number of years.
George, this is Keith. You make a great point, and it's also wise of us to emphasize this to our customers occasionally, that they must find ways to compensate in the event that we have a reduction of flow from Northern California into California Aqueduct. We can't control everything up there.
Very good point. Maybe we need to work a little bit more on that. Good point, Keith. Okay, is there anything? It's not an action item. Is there anything?
No action update.
Okay, well, thank you, Justin.
All right, thanks, Justin. Good job.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Director Miller. And moving on, next item number D, Water Master Committee. And then turn that over to Director Parrish.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll turn this over to Matt or Peter. Matt.
All right, thank you.
Peter out of this.
Yeah, keep Pete out of this. So thank you, Director Parrish. So again, on page 68 is staff report. Summarizes the items we're going to talk about this evening. The first one is an action item. So we need a board approval on this. It's the 8D1, consideration and possible action on First Amendment to our 2024 MOU between AVEK and the Water Master. So as you know, last month when we presented this to the AVEK board, I think it was President Lane pointed out recommendation to strike the word, 2 words, or perceived regarding the conflict of interest. So we conveyed that change to the Water Master attorney. Water Master board briefly discussed it. The Water Master attorney actually recommends striking both words, actual or perceived. So I think it cleans it up and satisfies our concern. The Water Master board wanted to kick this one change back to the advisory committee to see if they had any questions. So last week, the advisory committee met, reviewed the amended language, striking those few words there, and they recommended approval of the MOU as amended. So we're back this evening to get AVEK concurrence and officially approve the MOU so that tomorrow, hopefully, the Water Master Board will put this to bed and we'll move
Board
on.
Order 8D1, we're ready for that.
We're ready for that.
Mr. President, I move approval of Board Order 8D1.
Motion by Dr. Paris,
I'll second that motion.
second by Dr. Van Dam. There's no further questions or comments, Madam Secretary?
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Yes, motion carried. Yes, thank you.
All right, and the next item is to go through the action items on tomorrow's Water Master Board meeting. So if you look on begin on page 70, is the actual agenda for the Water Master meeting. Got a few slides here Angel helped put together to hit the highlights. And this is our opportunity to give direction to our representative, Director Paris, for tomorrow's votes. First action item tomorrow will be approval of the 2025-2026 USGS Joint Funding Agreement. The advisory committee recommends approval of this item. Little background, as you know, we switched over a few years back to where the Water Master is the contracting entity with the USGS. The Water Master holds that contract. The funding breakdown is down below there. 50% of the funding comes from the Antelope Valley State Water Contractors Association, 25% from the Antelope Valley Integrated Regional Water Management Group, and 25% from the Water Master through the collection of the administrative assessments. And you can see the dollar amounts associated with each of those. USGS, with Pete's pressure, was good at holding the fee pretty flat this year. I think it actually went down a little bit. And so, as you know, this information is critical to the Water Master engineer in preparing their annual report, looking at groundwater levels throughout the Antelope Valley, not just within AVEK or the retailers. So it looks at the entire Antelope Valley groundwater basin. So our recommendation, staff's recommendation to our representative is to support approval of this agreement. Any questions on that?
A motion would be in order for that.
We'll get through all these and
Okay.
then we can have a motion.
Okay.
So this next item is a transfer between the 50th district which is Fairgrounds and Lancaster, City of Lancaster. And I heard today that this item is going to be tabled. So probably no need to go through this. The advisory committee had a number of comments, and I think that's why the City of Lancaster is requesting to table this item, because they want to provide that information requested. Next few items, we have a few new production well applications. The first one listed there, 93 acre feet. It's temporary for construction water use over the next 2 years. This is an area, new subdivision that's within Palmdale Water District service area, but Palmdale is not providing potable water for construction activities, so the applicant is gonna utilize an existing well and use about 93 acre feet. Next two are pretty small, both single family residents. All three of these are in the central Antelope sub area. You can see the exact location listed there, or approximate location. And the advisory committee recommends approval of all three of these.
That 0.3 acre feet, does that seem reasonable?
It seems low. It's probably, I don't know, maybe one person taking a shower every week or something. Who knows what that is?
It seems very low.
Angel, what was that use? A single family?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
probably not correct.
It's very low. Maybe there's no outdoor use associated with this application. But just to point on that, they'll have to meter their actual production. So if they exceed the 0.3, they'll have to pay the actual replacement water usage on that. All right, this one new point of extraction. This person currently shares a well with their neighbor, and they want to get out of that and drill their own well. Then if they're a known small pumper located roughly Avenue F12 and Division, and the advisory committee recommends approval of this application. One on the bottom there is a replacement well application. Keith Meter, he's a known small pumper, Avenue G6 and Division. The existing well is not producing, so they want to drill a replacement well on the same site within 300 feet of the existing well. The advisory committee also recommends approval of this application. So based on our, we got a couple more here. We got one small pumper qualifier. They meet all the criteria to qualify as a small pumper. The advisory committee recommends approval of that. And then we have two monitoring well applications, both submitted by Waste Management for the Palmdale landfill located off of City Ranch Road and 10th Street West or Terrace Vida. Two monitoring wells, so they'll produce very little water, just enough to pull samples, and they're gonna analyze VOCs and TOC within each of those wells. And I think those are all the applications. Yeah. And staff's recommendation to our representative is to go ahead and approve all those, or recommend approval all those applications. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Do we need a motion on that or not? So
It's listed like that on the agendas, but as long as we have concurrence to our representative.
We hear no objection to it.
Can I ask a curiosity question?
You can.
How deep does the waste management go on those,
You remember, Angel? They gotta go at least down to water table, because they're pulling a water sample.
Just curious.
So I'm not sure where the water table sits over there. I think it's pretty shallow over there by the dump. That's right on the San Andreas fault line. So that to groundwater is not.
South facing side, Anna Verde Creek is supposed to run along there somewhere, but it doesn't really run. Okay, just curious.
Yeah, it's probably pretty shallow though. Anything else? No? All right.
Does that finish?
That concludes my
Okay.
report. Thank
Okay, is there any questions or comments? Rob, okay?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us down to number 9. General Manager's report.
Yeah, since last meeting, we went through details on state water supply and local water supplies and demands to our customers. Only thing I have this evening is some upcoming meetings and schedule. So we have the Water Master meeting tomorrow at 10 a.m. here at AVEK and on Zoom. We have Director Paris going to the Water Summit up in Sacramento, end of the month, 1st of October. We have the Antelope Valley State Water Contractors meeting coming up on October 9th at 6 p.m. here at AVEK and on Zoom. And then we have a district holiday on October 13th, Columbus Day. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Is there any questions for Matt? Okay, move down to director's reports.
Mr. President, I'll just report that Jay and Drew and I and Matt went to BizFed down in Whittier. Very interesting, representatives from different water agencies in the LA area. Also business owners in the LA area. And I was impressed that they're looking for, local water opportunities as well, just in case the big one hits and we can't get water. And of course, there's 3 sources for them between State Water Project and Colorado River and the LA Aqueduct. And so they're even concerned, where would they get their water if, right? So I appreciated going to that. It was very good information. I don't know if the gentlemen have any other comments on that.
I think you covered it well. Very important. Interesting to hear some different
He
perspectives.
talks about a lot of wastewater reclamation.
Yes. Yeah, so one of the guests was from Orange County, Riverside area, and they have their act together on filtration of wastewater and waste and other things as well. So they're a good example for what LA and the different agencies that showed up want to do so that they don't waste any water to the ocean at all someday, maybe. So it was a good conference.
Thank you much. Sounds interesting. Attorney's reports. Do we have an attorney?
We did earlier. Jim, do you have anything to report? We put him to bed.
Okay, moving on. Request for future.
No, I have nothing to add. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jim.
Request for future agenda items. Okay, there is need to go into closed session. Is that correct?
There is. We have one item, CD.
Okay. We could have a motion to go into closed session.
I move to go into closed session.
Victor Miller.
I'll second that.
Jay.
Second to go into
Okay.
closed session.
Okay.
Audrey,
Okay. Madam Secretary, if we could have a roll call.
Audrey Miller,
Yes.
Robert Paris,
Yes.
Jay Tremblay,
Yes.
Keith Dias,
Yes.
Drew Mercy,
Yes.
Gary Van Dam,
Yes.
George Lane.
Abstaining. Motion carried and I won't be part of that,
Yeah.
the meeting.
Should be
Okay, let's
fairly brief.
take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Okay.
We're just gonna get treats.
Recording stopped.